Okay, it's 6 o'clock, and I'll call our meeting to order. And Rob, call the roll, please.
Mr. Avery.
Here.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
Ms. Least.
Here.
Mrs. Sweet.
Here.
Mr. Bear.
Here.
Mr. Whitaker.
Here.
All members of council are present. Please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This is the regular session of the Enon Village Council. This is Tuesday, October 8, 2024. Any additions to our agenda this evening? Hearing none, let's go into approval of the minutes from the Tuesday, July 23rd, 2024 meeting. We did have two members absent, Mr. Whitaker and Mr. Avery. But if the rest of council is satisfied with those meeting minutes, I'd entertain a motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
Ms. Least.
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Abstain.
Mr. Avery.
Abstain.
Those minutes are approved as presented. Let's go to the Tuesday, September 24th, 2024 meeting. And again, if you are satisfied with the contents, I'd entertain a motion and a second to approve.
So moved.
Second.
And call the roll, please.
Ms. Least.
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker.
Yes.
Mr. Avery.
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
And those minutes are approved as presented. Rob, I'll turn it over to you. Good evening for your financial report.
Financial reports and statements for the month of September have been distributed. We are in balance. Our account balances as of the end of the month are general fund, $275,614.99. Street department, $37,093.73. And I would call your attention to that number because it is a healthy increase from the month before. So we had spent that fund down quite a bit with projects over the summer, but we're heading back in the right direction. And our license fees and gas taxes have been coming in healthy from the state of Ohio. If we go down to our ARPA funds, we have $44,450.53. Police levy at $291,139.42. Mayor's Court Computer Fund, which continues to do well, at $2,492.50. Water Fund at $295,805.54. And our contingency for the water at $109,822.34. Total funds available from all funds are $1,134.43. We received the last of our rollback money for real estate taxes in the month of September. So all of our collections for the year are in, and we did well with our real estate collections this year. Again, some of them at like 4% higher than we had estimated. So grateful for that.
And Rob, if you would talk a little bit about the ARPA funds, just to get it on the record, what those funds will be encumbered for, please.
Sure. So the ARPA funds, like we said, we had about 44,000 left. Those have to be encumbered by the end of the year. We cannot encumber for people. We can't encumber salaries or benefits or retirement packages for a subsequent year. So the plan as of now is to encumber those monies for police department expenses on things. So we can do a PO for the gas for the year, and that's probably about $15,000. We can do POs for repairs to and maintenance on vehicles, supplies that they have. So the chief is aware, and we've talked a little bit. So we'll work together to get a list of things that we can encumber by the end of November, probably, so that money's spoken for. When we did the budget this year, you guys you appropriated the entirety of that fund, so it's not going to necessitate us coming back to you to request any permission for that.
But the rules of using that is by the end of this year, it had to be encumbered. Didn't have to be spent, but had to be encumbered.
Has to be encumbered.
Okay.
But we can't encumber for people. So
Gotcha.
Just do stuff. So unless there are any questions on the September financials,
I'll make a motion to accept the bank reconciliation as presented.
I'll second.
Any other comments, questions? Call roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least.
Yes.
If you look at your appropriation status reports, you'll notice that there are some funds that have expended at a quicker rate than we had hoped for, and some that are expending a little bit behind what we had projected. So, we discussed in Finance Committee this evening, and I bring a request to you to reduce the Police Department Capital Outlay Fund by $4,000 and increase the General Fund Administration Contractual Services line by the same amount. And I can list those account numbers for the record for the minutes, but the goal would be to take $4,000 off the appropriation for police capital outlay, increase the General Fund Admin Contractual Services line by the same amount, making it a wash. That contractual service line deals with pays a lot of the bills that we split between the three main funds. So a lot of the maintenance of this property, a lot of village-wide insurance, we split largely 50% out of the water fund, 30% out of streets, and 20% out of general fund. And that's the line where we pay those things, and we will not have enough as it stands to get to the end of the year.
I'll move that we accept Mr. Storm's recommendation.
I'll second.
Any questions, comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
That ends my report, sir, unless there are any questions.
Questions for our fiscal officer?
Yes, sir. Rob, have we heard anything about the charitable funds for the park?
No, but I submitted a second letter after you asked me about that last week, and still have not heard. So it is still in the dark recesses of the state auditor's office somewhere. I'm not totally surprised we haven't heard yet, but we'll keep.
Well, I was hoping by the end of the year, if people want to make a charitable deduction, that might be timely at that point.
So if by the end of the year we get to that point when if we haven't gotten approval, we can take those receipts into the general fund and still give them the tax deductible notice that they received it. And then when we do get that fund approved from the state of Ohio, we can make a transfer.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks, Rob. Good report. Any items of communication?
I do.
Mrs. Sweet?
I just want to remind everybody that this coming weekend is the Enon Apple Butter Festival.
What?
Come see us.
It is?
But I just wanted it on record.
Yeah, me too. I thought that was next week.
Where's that at?
Elmer's front yard.
Where's it at?
It's in Elmer's front yard.
Elmer's front yard.
Galloway Park.
Biggest party
Elmer's
in
block
Enon.
party.
Be there 6 a.m. Saturday.
There you go.
Stirring apple butter.
Good.
Kevin, I'll turn it over to you for staff reports. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, residents. First item, the Mayor's Court report for September. There were 3 traffic cases. Total funds received for the current month, $2,815. Year-to-date, $32,887.60. Funds dispersed to the state for the month, $345. Year-to-date, $6,090.50. Total remitted to the village, current month, $2,400 or $2,458, and year to date $26,561.60. Total and dispersed $2,815, and year to date $32,887.60.
I'll move that we accept the mayor's court report as presented.
I'll second.
A question for our chief. I noticed that compared to the August report, our activity is down significantly. Just in general, what would you attribute that to?
Well, I'd have to look at the August, but I would just assume it was probably this court structure. Like, for example, in September, we have 13 citations, but they only have 3 in mayor's court, so that's just the jurisdiction of the court. As far as like traffic tickets, is that what you mean?
Yeah, I was looking at last month, we had 20 for August and we had 3 for September. I didn't know if there was, according to the report.
I don't have August's police one in front of me, but I have
Okay.
I have September's, and Is the court report that he just read is for September, correct?
Correct.
Right.
I would assume the court.
Any other comments, questions? Call roll.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
That report has been approved as submitted.
Okay, item number 2, the blood drive, once again, is October 23rd. If anybody's interested in donating, get on donortime.com and schedule an appointment. As of right now, I haven't heard how many's available, but I can check tomorrow and let everybody know in an email. Item number 3, we did finally get a memorial tree for Lois Bennett. That got obtained through the Clark County Beautification Grant that was filled out. So we did plant that on her, in her memory out there. Wayne wanted it out by the water plant, kind of behind the water plant, between the water plant and then the new parking lot, the stone lot. So we planted it out there.
Saw it walking the dog last night. Looks
Yep.
really good.
I did get a plaque ordered for that, so that should be coming. So we'll get that installed as well. But it's a forest fire black gum. It's supposed to get 40 to 50 feet high with a 20 to 25 foot spread. Color flowers. Flowers are white. And looks like some of the leaves in the fall turn kind of reddish color too. So
Very nice.
yeah, so that is planted out there. Fire hydrant flushing. I was told today they're in West Enon right now. Got 20 hydrants left, so we're hoping to get, barring any unforeseen circumstances, hope to get done tomorrow. Get 10 in the morning, 10 in the afternoon, and we'll be done with flushing then. So that's going real well. Item number 5, the sale of property. We have that vacant lot beside the church that was talked about being sold off. I did call Paul Cavanaugh to kind of pick his brain if we could sell it kind of for sale by owner, or we have to get a realtor. He checked with another attorney that he works with.
Tammy Engel.
Tammy. And he did get back with me, and he said that he has heard of no regulations where you have to sell it by a realtor. He would suggest if we do sell it for sale by owner, put a time limit on it, 60 to 90 days, so it's not stretching out, I did call the state auditor as well. The mayor had me call them, and I did talk to Mr. Crum from the state auditor's office. He suggests that a sealed bid type thing, it's not required. But in all of his 23 years with the state auditor, he has never came across an instance where they used a realtor. He said that might be a sticky situation. You might have to go out with qualifications to try to choose a realtor. So he said to once again check with the solicitor, look on the revised code. So I did look on the revised code and found it 721.01, 721.03. And basically it says in order to sell it, we have the right to sell it. In order to sell it, it has to be authorized by an ordinance first. So we'd have to pass an ordinance to sell the property and advertise it in the paper to the highest bidder once a week for 5 consecutive weeks. And we can advertise it as a sealed bid.
And we would reserve, like any other project, the right to reject any and all bids.
Yeah, such
Yes.
such border officer, it's right in the revised code, may reject any bids and re-advertise until the such real estate is sold.
Okay.
So if whichever direction you want to go, then we can pursue that.
I'd recommend that we get an ordinance prepared for the next meeting that would state our intentions to accept sealed bids for the sale of that property.
Would we want to put in there the stipulation of 60, 90, or 120 days, something like that, if they're putting that forward? 90 days?
Yeah.
The only thing in the ordinance was it had to be announced 5 straight weeks.
Has to be advertised once a week for 5 consecutive weeks. So after 5 weeks, you could open the sealed bids and go from there if you didn't like any of them or reject it and then advertise it again.
We go 90 days, 60 days?
So if you don't like any of the 5, you can reject them, even though it's
Yes.
still the
Right.
highest bidder. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I don't-
See, if we're going to be at 60 days would put us right toward the end of the calendar year.
Yep.
What's council's pleasure?
Is there an advantage to trying to do something by the end of this year?
No, so
I don't think so.
it don't
I say we
matter to
put
me.
60 days and
do the 5 weeks or do the 60 days?
we
Well,
have to do the 5 weeks.
Yeah, I think we have to do the 5
You have
5
to
weeks
do-
regardless.
Yeah, you have to do
Yeah,
5 weeks
you have
regardless.
to advertise it for 5 consecutive weeks, once a week for 5 weeks.
60 days or 90, what do you guys think?
60.
60
Okay,
days.
we'll do 60.
Okay,
Thanks,
I'll
Kevin.
work on that for next meeting. The only thing I have left, I want to let everybody know that about John Vanderglass's property at 160 Enon Xenia Road, where he tore the house down and came in for a BZA variance for front and side setback, parking space sizes. There was a loading zone variance, requirement variance. Gravel parking, partially of the lot is going to be gravel, like a grid system, and some will be asphalt. I think that was all the variances. Since then, he bought the house next door, the property next door, combined those properties, and brought in a revised plan, which he moved the building further away from the original setback request. So he's actually back a little bit more.
He's more compliant.
More compliant with the zoning, with the variance, things like that. So we got looking at it, and it's in my opinion that at first I thought, well, he's going to have to come back and request a new variance. But after we got looking at it and studying a little bit, like I say, he's more in compliant and with what the BZA had passed before. So it's in my opinion that he does not need to come back to BZA. He's good to go.
So the question that I asked you the other day to look at, is there anything that's stated if there is any type of change to the actual variance that's granted, that it has to come back before the board?
I did not see anything.
Then I think we're good.
I did not see anything.
Yeah, I don't see why it would have to come back before the board then. So.
Is he tearing that other house down?
As of right now, no. He's going to remodel the inside, use it for storage, office space a little bit for the brewery. So
And how
As of
long
right
is the
now.
hole going to be in the ground? I've had multiple people ask me about how safe that hole in the ground is with just yellow tape around it.
he's kind of waiting on this, and he's ready to go. He's ready to start. So I'm assuming it'll be. I mean, I can make him fill it, but he'll be digging out some more as well. So to get everything built. So.
I would guess he's
I'll have
probably
to
going
talk
to try
with
to
him.
do something before winter.
Oh
or-
yes,
I mean,
yes, he's ready to go. He's got the final plan, on my desk, and he's just ready to go. So
This will be a better setup than what the board granted from a variance standpoint.
correct.
right.
So
Yeah, it was gonna be tight. Like,
it's-
so the setback, he's even further back probably than.
The original was like 2 foot from the front, and there was I think 2 and 2 or something like that.
Right.
He's going to be 7 feet off the side, and I think an additional 3 foot off the so.
Parking spots, he doesn't need to do anything with that. Like, he's probably adding more parking
He's
spots.
got
I
enough
would
parking
think.
according to the square footage of the building.
Okay.
So yes, he's only required by zoning. His building is like 3,600 square feet, and it's 1 per 300. So he was only really to have 11 spaces.
He's got
Now
about double that,
like
doesn't he?
22
Yeah, I thought
right
he
now,
had like
22 or
that.
23,
Yeah.
plus motorcycle parking, plus a spot for electric vehicles. So
Last time I went by there, he'd gotten some of the household mattress type things out of the dumpster. I'm not sure if they still are, but as far as the safety issue and with the people that'll be coming by that particular property on foot this weekend, are we good with that, or have you checked that to see, just to make sure that we're not in a situation?
Yeah, I can check, and I can even offer him, if it's okay with council, to, we have some of that construction fence. We could probably help him out if that's okay with council. The orange
The
construction fence.
temporary.
Better to be proactive than
I think
reactive.
so,
on
It'd be-
that. Yeah.
Better than that caution tape that he's got up
Yes,
now,
Right,
in my
definitely.
opinion.
Just because
Yeah.
of the amount of foot
So
traffic.
if that's okay with council, then I can,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, good. I have
Good
one more
suggestion.
comment. Vanderglass is spelled with one S at the end, just so you know. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I think that's all I have for now. Everything else staff's going good. And I actually I did have an ad out for part-time labor, street labor, maintenance worker. I've received 2 applications. I've had it on the municipal league website, our website, Facebook, and advertise it in the paper. We did have a gentleman turn his application in 2, and the one is not going to work out. Had the one come in for an interview, and after calling his references and previous jobs, that's kind of not going to work out either.
Not gonna work
so.
out either, okay.
I
Just-
can't think of a nicer way to say it, but I just can't get anybody applying.
Keep trying.
I am.
It's a great
So-
place to work.
Yeah,
We are.
yeah, we're all friendly. So
And just FYI, I did see that there were several donor spots still open for the donation of
okay,
blood. so-
thank you. Thanks.
Questions for our administrator?
Kevin, how many guys we got to run snowplows then this year?
We'll have Doug.
Able to.
We'll have Doug, Tom. Tom is actually finished today for the year due to his retirement. And, but he said that he's coming back January 1st, so he'll be available to plow. So Doug, Tom, and Jamie. So 3,
yeah.
like we normally have. So.
Does Jamie have to have some kind of training? Because this will be the first year for him doing that, right?
Doug will take care of that. Yep.
Okay.
He does a pretty good job of training the guys.
Plowed last year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Any other questions? Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Chief, I'll turn it over to you. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and residents. First item I have is the National Drug Take Back. Will be October 26th, which is a Saturday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. here at the Village Government Center. Residents can come in the front entrance there, where the utility office there at the front, between the hours of 10 a.m. 2 p.m., deposit their prescription drugs into the box, and then they will be disposed of. That is sponsored by the Drug Enforcement Agency. No sharps, no liquids, please. And again, that's Saturday, October 26th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I did push out the stats for September, though I don't have them on the agenda. I don't know how that didn't get on there. But the citations, we have 13 citations for the department, and so with the mayor's court report, that means 10 of them would have went to the municipal court rather than the mayor's court. 67 traffic stops and 12 arrests. We did have one crime that we had where we had that spree a couple weeks ago. I had some residents call in and talk about that, but just to bring it up at a meeting, the incident there at the Harrison, the cars were people pulling on handles. West Milton Police Department had a red Toyota stolen from their jurisdiction on that night. That vehicle did come from West Milton over to the Enon area. The vehicle was abandoned there on East Street, where the occupants of that are believed to have made it through the village up through the Harrison Street area, pulling on car doors and essentially stealing a vehicle from the village where the keys were left in the vehicle. And then that vehicle was later dumped outside in another jurisdiction where they also stole another vehicle, did the same type of activity, essentially then ditching that vehicle in another jurisdiction. I'm assuming probably then going home or wherever it was that they reside after they do their criminal behavior. So just wanted to let everybody know that we do our best. I will tell you, just looking through some security stuff, we had an officer that actually drove through that particular area roughly around the time those suspects would have been in the area. And it is very easy to avoid a car with headlights, but very hard for a car with headlights to sneak up on people that are walking down the street in the middle of the night. So again, I encourage our residents that if you have cameras, I know that some stuff was posted on social media. I do not sit on social media. So if you post it there, I would ask that you also contact local law enforcement and bring it to their attention, send photos, which some people did send me some emails with some photos attached. And if you do have cameras and maybe they're not, check them to make sure you have good visible lighting so you can pick up the best details and all that. And then again, call the dispatch if you see something suspicious and report it. Second, I have Officer Hupp. I passed out his evaluation there. He did successfully complete his 6-month evaluation there on September 23rd, 2024. He's completed all the basic requirements and he has a good evaluation. So I ask that council relieve him from his probationary period, please.
So per the Ohio Revised Code, the mayor makes a recommendation to the Enon Village Council based upon communication with the chief of police. Mike and I have discussed this evaluation, and at this time, I'm satisfied that Officer Hupp has successfully completed his probationary period and do recommend a final appointment. And I'd entertain a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second. And can you give me that date again, Chief? It was
September 23rd,
23rd, that's what I
2024.
thought, okay.
Would be the September 26th, I'm sorry, his evaluation period is the 23rd, but
Okay,
I
26.
apologize for that.
And call the roll, please.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hammond,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet.
Yes.
Mr. Bear.
Yes.
Thank you. I would also ask that we move him into the full-time position that we have available as soon as we can to retain him as an employee.
No, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I'm sorry. I would ask that we move him up into the full-time position that we do have open now that he's completed his probation and is off. That was something we had discussed prior. We were waiting till he completed his probationary period. So I think he's earned that, and we do have it open.
And why don't you and I discuss the timing of that?
Absolutely, yes. That's okay. We'll skip number 3 for now until we discuss that. And then we do have apple butter, as Councilwoman Sweet answered, this weekend. We'll have our surveillance trailers scheduled to be delivered Friday, depending on whether or not I hear back from the property owners of the Rite Aid lot. It will depend on the placement of that. That is video surveillance that will help deter crime, and should there be crime, help us with evidence and leading to it. We'll have officers there throughout the festival. You'll see us out walking around. I'll have our new officer, Franklin, with me most of the day. I know Saturday and Sunday, he's anxious to meet some of the new residents, so if you're
Good
out and about,
opportunity.
yep, please stop up there and see us. Also ask that anybody coming and visiting, if you're watching, please park accordingly. Try not to block our streets, and we will do our best to accommodate you if you do your best to accommodate us.
So they're not parking at the old Rite Aid, correct?
They
Or-
will be parking at the
They
old
will.
Rite Aid, my
Handicap
understanding.
parking only at
Hand-
Rite Aid.
Handicap parking only?
That's what
Okay,
the independent writers have decided to do.
okay.
It'll be easier
who
for the
only?
handicapped people. Pardon?
For who only?
Handicap parking will be there instead of behind the school in the grass, which is more difficult for handicap. They'll be parking at the Rite Aid parking lot.
And we appreciate the cooperation that the owners have shown to utilize that lot. And I think we kind of turned it over to the apple butter to work out the details with them and what, would be appropriate. But I think that's going to be a good use for that lot, so.
Also, I might add, and Ben can probably agree with me, the drive-through at the Rite Aid site will be where the fire department will be parking their vehicles so they can get out if they need to quickly.
That's correct.
Okay, so, there we go.
Be a different layout.
Win-win.
I'll have to stop over and chat with you. I know where the Apple Butter generally shuts that down sometime around 1 or 2 p.m. on Friday. They start working on setting stuff up.
I'm
So-
not sure about that, I'd have to check.
Unsure of the time, but I know that they do that. So just remember that South Enon Zini will be closed there at Main Street and just through the end of Taylor, I believe. Scott, possibly, one of the two. Anyhow, that concludes my report.
Thanks, Chief. Any questions?
Chief, what time's the run Sunday morning?
It is Sunday at 9 a.m. It starts at Green and Schools. Thank you. Goes back through the neighborhoods and out and back around the mound and then back up to the school.
Okay.
Kevin, you have a comment?
Yeah, I just got a text from Todd Pettit that he's planning on 1 o'clock on Friday with those concrete barricades.
Awesome. Very good.
Did we talk to Ben at Domino's, like they're using that side street again? They're okay with their,
The delivery?
The alley?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Same as last year. He said there was no problems with that last year, and so he's fine.
And just so council knows, we had a staff meeting last week and we went through everything again to make sure everybody had their little parts done, the police, administrative or whatever. So I think we're getting into a pretty good routine here. So hopefully it'll be smooth.
Not the first rodeo.
True that. Any other questions? Thanks, Chief. Any committee reports?
we'll have I guess, minutes at the next meeting for financial report or financial committee report that we had this evening before the regular meeting.
We have no old business or new business. I am going to request an executive session. However, any comments from our public tonight? Elmer, Maxine? No? Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for discussion of discipline, retention, dismissal, or separation of an employees.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah,
Yes.
Ms. Least,
Yes.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Barrett.
Yes.
Will there be action coming back out of that, or?
I don't anticipate any.
Okay.